President Gaddafi.
Leadership has arrived there. Can we start? Can we start, Mshab? We must start here. And good morning, everyone.
Yes, President, we have agreed before you logged in that we are going to start at 10 past. So we are left with 2 minutes to start. We are going to start, and we really apologize for the delay.
Comrades, me, I've got a lot of things to do. I'm running the institution. But anyway, we'll wait. What can we do? How is student joining here? Tonale.
Thanks very much for attending and also for being patient with us. Let me take this opportunity to greet University of Venda staff members, starting from Dr. Ntambeleni in his absentia, since I don't see him, and going down to Director of Student Affairs in his absentia, represented by Andisan Matele Musa from Student Affairs. I'll also take this opportunity to greet the President of the University of Venda Student Representative Council, who's Mr. Chauke Gift, and his cabinet present here. Also to greet our guest speaker, Mr. Freedom Dlamin. Comrades, let me take this opportunity to officially open this program. We have once noticed that it's very difficult, or a little bit difficult, to run programs online, because if it was not online, we would at least sing Nkosi Sikelele. But nonetheless, these online platforms has made our lives to be simple, to attend programs in wherever we can be. My name is Musa Uhuru Benevolence Mukhobi. I am the current and the outgoing Minister of On-Campus and Off-Campus Housing in the SRC. I will be the Program Director or the facilitator of this program. Let me take this opportunity to welcome everyone, the University of Venda students in particular, who are streaming live on Facebook, who are on Univen FM, who are on Twitter, Instagram, to say that we welcome all of you. Also want to welcome our guest speakers, President, university staff members, in this particular meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, without the waste of time, let me take this opportunity to give to Africa Somthi, who is the Minister of Finance in the SRC, to come and tell us the purpose of the meeting today as the university. Thank you. Over to you, Minister of Finance.
Minister, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Let me start by actually passing my greetings and gratitude to the Univen populace for actually having deemed me worthy of delivering the purpose of a gathering of this significance. It is actually an honor to be live today talking about June 16, as I'm a firm believer that it is through learning about our history that we'll be able to engineer better futures for ourselves. It is us learning about our history that we'll be able to see what went wrong, what was done right by those before us, and what was done wrong, so that we can actually better equip ourselves to face the challenges that we actually facing as the youth of today. To the Univen populace, today we are gathered here to celebrate the courageous spirit that was shown by the youth of 1976, who took a firm decision to say that enough is enough. We shall no longer be subject to an education system that forces us to be taught in Afrikaans, so that we gain nothing more than knowing a language of command for the labor market. A youth who said we have had it with a system of government which thrives on making us second-class citizens in the country of our forefathers. So in June 16, 1976, the youth took to the streets of Soweto to protest against the apartheid regime, and were met up with an armed state with a state army who opened fire on them. It was a story of a David and a Goliath. Only this time, David was killed, as hundreds of youth were killed from that day 2 weeks after. The police had guns over students who had stones. Whilst many young people die, the hunger and the ideals of a free South Africa did not die, because from there on, it became a mission of young people in South Africa to make this country ungovernable until all people are treated as equal. While celebrating this day, it is important that as the youth of 2021, we must also introspect to check if the conditions facing the youth today are the ideal future that the youth of 1976 had. Because the freedom we enjoy today, whether we like it or not, was bought with a very high price. It was bought with blood. It was many struggle heroes like the youth of 1976, Steve Biko, Solomon Mahlangu, and many more who laid down their lives so that today we are able to have the opportunities that we have today. I am very much a liker of Fanon's writings, and in one of his writings, he makes a very profound statement that each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. I therefore challenge the youth here today to remember that we are here for something a little more than ourselves. We are here to fulfill a mission that we cannot afford to fail. There's high unemployment. Sorry about that. It was just told to actually open video, so I don't know. Am I audible? Is it on, Minister? Is the video on?
It's becoming on, but we can't see you.
You can't. Oh, let me just switch it on. I was just told now. I'm sorry that I was speaking, and you were not seeing me. Okay, it's fine. I think I am now. You can now see me.
Yes, yeah. You can see you now.
I think you can now see me. Okay. As I was saying that today we have many challenges that are facing us as the youth of 2021. We have the issue of high unemployment. We have the issue of gender-based violence. We also have we are also celebrating the Pride Month this month, and we are actually celebrating it at a time in our society where we have a very hostile attitude towards the LGBTQI community. And these are things that need us to question ourselves as to where we are going as a country and what do we want as the youth of today. Because like I said, we have a mission to fulfill that we cannot afford to fail. Now, I'm not preaching, but there's a story that I like about a certain king who had ordered that the children of their slaves be killed whilst they let the older generation to continue slaving away for them. The reason for that king targeting the young people of that nation was that whenever there is a young person in a group of people that is being treated inhumane, there's always a fear from the oppressors that there might be a young person who's going to rise and actually tend to challenge the status quo. So amandla agcwele to challenge, to scrutinize, to hold accountable, to govern, to change things. And it is upon us to actually take that responsibility and make it our mission to actually ensure that whatever challenges we're facing today, we actually fight them, and whatever the situation we're facing today, we fight against. So from the youth of 1976, we learn that it is the youth that will actually make sure that there is change in their country. And that is the challenge that I'm leaving with the people that are here as we celebrate the youth today, the youth day today, that we have the power to change. Amandla and Aluta Continua. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Minister of University SRC, Minister of Finance, Mrs. Africa Somti.
Let me correct to Minister. It's Miss Africa Somti. Miss Africa Somti.
Miss Africa Somti. Thanks very much. Everyone who's going to come to a podium is encouraged at least to switch on their videos, because we have got guest speakers and everyone who happen not to be knowing you. So as the message that I also got, now we'll take this opportunity to call upon the messages of support from the organization within the University of Venda. Ms. Somti, can you please switch off your mic? Can you please mute your mic? Thank you. We'll call upon messages of support from the University of Venda political organizations, which is the African National Congress Youth League, the Economic Freedom Fighters Student Command, and Student Christian Organization, which is the SCO. They didn't give me the names, but I guess that let me call upon a representative from the ANC Youth League. Thank you.
Your mic is muted, my leader.
Now my mic is very much on, leadership. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Everybody
yes.
in the house, you can hear me. Thank you.
Yes.
As I was saying, thank you very much, Minister of Housing in University of Venda. My name is Comrade Ndivo Munyai. I am the ANC Youth League Univen branch chief whip in the SRC. I'm delegated to come and give a message of support, especially particularly on a program of this nature, speaking about the young people.
Sorry, Mr. Munyai. Mr. Munyai. Yes, I think your videos is too close, that we only see the nose and the mouth. Can you at least, so that everyone can see you?
Can you see me now?
Just adjust it a bit.
Okay, I should adjust what the video bit.
Go back, Mr. Munyai. Thank you. Can continue.
These people, they want to see me. Can you see me now?
You can continue. You can continue.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to repeat what I've already said, because I want to believe that you have already heard what I said. We, from the ANC Youth League Univen branch, particularly I, for one, I'm not going to speak much about the history of what transpired years ago, because it is my belief that members of the House in this program and everyone out there, the country as a whole, we already know what transpired. One thing that I want to put in record is to speak with the young people who are part and parcel of this program. And those who are watching us live, those who are hearing us, may it be from Univen branch, you can say that it is our role and responsibility as young people, activists in political spheres from various political parties, in the institutions of higher learning, may it be outside there in our different communities, to stand firm against any kind of injustice, drawing inspiration and courage from our fellow heroes and heroines who fought, who stood hard to the struggle that people were facing back in the days. The young people of Soweto or young people of South Africa, they've taken a decision to say enough is enough. We are going to fight against this colonized education. We are going to liberate ourselves. It is the very same thing that we should be doing here. I always tell people that the difference between us and the young people of those days is we are cowards. We are not as vibrant as they were. We talk too much on social media platforms, everywhere we are in gatherings for relevance purpose and other reasons. Those ones, they were warriors. They were fighters. When they're saying enough, it's enough, it was enough. When they're saying we are fighting injustice, they were fighting injustice. But instead, you will find out, for example, now here in the institution of higher learning, University of Venda, for example, we have challenges maybe as students. Instead of us confronting such injustice, we spend most of the time pointing fingers to each other as student activists, and also be speaking on social media platforms about certain things instead of confronting the situation as they are. May it be on a management level, may it be on NSFAS, may it be at any kind of institution which is involved as far as resolving our issues is concerned. And to tell you the honest truth, no one is not going to come on a battlefield and fight for us. It is our responsibility to stand firm and we say, enough is enough. Honorable Nelson Mandela once said, there is always a time in every nation whereby you're only left with only two choices. It's either you accept the injustice or you fight against the injustice. Now the question remains to say that from what we are going through as students, if we are speaking about the students having debts in the institution of higher learning and the NSFAS is not even paying for them, if we are having students who are having issues around allowances, around academic records, we are having problems in students' residencies, we are having problems around job rate, or our young people are not being employed, they're going to the institutions of higher learning, they pass, they graduate, they come back, they sit home with their degrees. Now the question is, what do we then do as young people? Do we just sit and we expect the Messiah will come from nowhere and come and rescue us as young people now? And the honest answer to that is, there is nothing like that which is going to happen. It will take our courage, all of us, to stand together and say, enough is enough. We are going to be the mouthpiece of young people. And we raise our voices with no fear. Because if we are going to be trembling and be intimidated, we can say that if we voice our voices, this will happen. It simply means we are not going to champion the issues of young people. But yet we stood firm and say we want to be activists, we want to be comrades, we want to be fighters, we want to be like our comrade Solomon Mahlangu. Comrades, a revolution is not a bedroom full of roses. This is a battlefield. There is no other way of liberating masses of our people without fighting the injustice, without confronting the system. It's a high time, comrades, particularly to the students of University of Venda. My last words, I'm simply saying to all of you, to all students, activists, all political organizations, to all members of the PYA led by SASCO in Univen branch, we are now facing a time whereby we must do away with being leaders of memorandums, leaders of emails, leaders of simply reporting the instruction from the management to the membership or rather to our students. Now we must confront the situation. When we are saying we have a water crisis, we go ahead to those who are responsible to ensure that there is water in residence or rather there is water on campus. We do away with these other shenanigans which are going to delay the progress of our students. Because other than that, we are not going to succeed. These higher institutions, or rather the leadership of the country, rather the leadership of the institutions, they might be having other resources like what transpired across the country. Students' leaders are being brutalized every day for raising out their voices on behalf of the students. They're being suspended. It's like once you affiliate to be a comrade or an activist, it's simply a ticket to say, goodbye, my degree. I'm going to be suspended and I'm going to stay home with no degree, no future, because I would have been suspended for raising out the concerns of the students. Now, I'm simply saying to all of you, it's better they finish all of us. We rather become united. United, we can do it. There is no way they can defeat us if all of us as students, all of us as youth, there is no way they can defeat us. We confront those old men there, those gogos there. We tell them their things. We tell them how we feel. We tell them exactly the impact their actions is having on us, on our future. Because we are the future of this noble country. We are the future of this institution. Thank you very much, Comrade MC. Amandla.
Thanks very much with those powerful words of encouragement and also the words of support, the message of support that you have portrayed. Now let me allow a member of EFF Student Command to give a message of support. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, MC of the program. Maybe firstly, I would like to send my apology. Where I am now, I can't be able to open my video. With that said, receive revolutionary greetings from the convener of EFFSC Univen branch, Comrade Chairman. The EFFSC Univen branch would like to commemorate the 45th anniversary of the Soweto uprising, which is known as Youth Day, 16 June. The EFFSC Univen branch celebrates the generation of 1976, which took it upon itself to confront the apartheid regime for the betterment of the dejected masses of our people. This month reminds us of all the students who marched against the injustice of Bantu education, which was the establishment of the apartheid regime. The students were forced to learn using Afrikaans, and this was done to ensure that our students fail in class and go and work for white people. The plan was to ensure that we remain inferior to white minority. Students saw it fit to take it to the picket lines. They took it to the streets of Soweto, inspired by Stephen Bantu Biko. They did all of this knowing exactly the consequences, but they believed that they had to do what they did, not just for them, but even for the generation to come. We are here saluting them today. June 16 is a day that represents courage and determination. Today, we take this opportunity and thank this generation which took a stand and fought apartheid regime when it was not fashionable to do so. They confronted an armed regime with stones on their hands. We remember the likes of Steve Mashinini, Unkuputse Abraham Tiro, Steve Bantu Biko, Hector Peterson, who sacrificed their lives for the betterment of Black child. We cannot speak of the 1976 generation and not mention the Fees Must Fall generation. In 2015, students of different universities took a stand against the decision of the government which seek to increase fees in all South African universities. The youth, inspired by the 1976 generation, saw it fit to confront such frivolous decision. The same way apartheid regime reacted to the generation of 1976, it is the same way South African government under the leadership of the ANC reacted. They deployed police in different campuses in order to silence students. They used hand grenades. Our students were shot in a close range by rubber bullets. Tear gas were unleashed and water cannon to disperse our people. More than 600 students were arrested for fighting against unjust government, arrested for fighting for their birthrights. We thank and salute the 1976 generation, which taught us to stand up against any form of injustice in our lifetime. We continue taking aspirations from the likes of Tsitsi Mashinini and Unkuputse Abraham Tiro. No, thank you very much, MC.
Thanks very much, Mr. Gudani Chamano, for the words of encouragement and also the message of support that you have portrayed. Let me remind you, fellows, that we are also live on University of Venda official page on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also on Univen FM 99.8 megahertz. The station that starts with you. With that being said, let me allow a representative from SCO to come and give message of support.
I think they're not here, program director.
Okay, if there is no member from SCO, then we should proceed with our program. Let me take this opportunity to call upon the president of students, Mr. Chauke Gift, the SRC president, University of Venda, to come and address us. Thank you very much. Over to you, President.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, President.
Thank you very much. I firstly want to greet everyone who's in this meeting here. Thank the opportunity for educating comrades. I think Comrade Mia is still is still here. He's still on the program. I want to educate him on some few things.
No, President. He went to finance. He's assisting students.
No, we must record for him. Let me just give you a brief history of how did we reach on the issue of 16 June. June 16, 1976. It began in Soweto, where an apartheid government imposed Afrikaans as a medium of communication. This started in 1974. Thereafter, black students mobilized each other for one common goal, to say no, these things of Afrikaans can't work. Probably maybe almost everyone failed because this was imposed in 1974. Then black students sat down and said, no, let's mobilize each other. They mobilized each other in 1976, 16 June. When they give us information about this matter, they say black students were roughly from between 3,000 to 10,000. They were marching to peacefully, unarmed, demonstrating the fact that, no, we are tired of this issue of Africans. Along the way, when they were going to hand over memorandum, where they didn't even arrive, they met police who were heavily armed. The police more tear gas. Later, they got instruction, and we don't know from who, but they got instruction to just kill those people. They started using live ammunition, and life were lost there. So I want just to bring you too deep to context that this freedom didn't come in a silver platter. Life were lost. And the youth of 1976 were not populists, were not pop stars. They first, before they took time and planned about these things. They didn't absolutely took it to street without directions. They had the directions. They had direction and they had one common goal to achieve. Who's disturbing me now? Can I proceed? I'm protected.
You're protected, President. Continue addressing the House.
Thank you very much. So now we are the youth of 1976 played their own role. They liberated us. Today we're doing masters. Today we're doing PhD with the language that we all understand, without anyone oppressing us. It's because people lost their life. We got this freedom. The blood was shed. So now I want to bring it. I want to take for a few minutes. I just want to take you deep, bro. As a youth of today, what are you doing to better life of our generation for tomorrow? We have students who are dropped out. I'm glad that our guest speakers, I mean, a leader who tried by all means necessary to say, feast must fall. This is a leader of feast must fall. This is a leader who liberated some of us. The time when there was a feast must fall protest, some of us will drop out. You know, we on the street, but we're not here to talk about ourselves. But the issue of feast must fall tried when they tried. but fists didn't fall. But they tried, they pushed very hard. I'm not here to squabble on what then happened, what then after happened, but Gumka Ndamini and other leaders are still paying the bill of us, of that issue of fist must fall protest. Others are still in house arrest. Others are in parliament, but it's fine. I was not here for that, so it's okay. But what I'm bringing to you, comrades, as the SRC of University of Venda, as a student of University of Venda, what are we doing as the generation of today? If we can go back to apartheid, are we still gonna genuinely fight for our freedom, or we're still going to sell each other to go to parliament? Are we still going to fight to liberate our own people, or we're still going to sell each other to get jobs tomorrow? Because what we're checking here, people whom we elect for them to lead us, they're just there to lead themselves to get their way in to better themselves than to better themselves than other people. We send people to lead us. You'll find tomorrow they are more advanced than us. Their jobs, they got proper jobs, everything. But what about all of us? I'm saying we have lost directions as young people. Youth of 1976 were united. Tina were not united. It's for me. If it's not me, then there's nothing. I want us to be united like the youth of 1976 so that we can conquer these things. Because we're not going to go anywhere with this issues of saying, no, we don't want to listen to anyone. We just want to fight. It is not going to assist us with anything. We must be united. We must do away with the issue of jealousy, political jealousy, especially in the University of Venda. And we must refrain from going to sangomas to each other. We must love each other. I know I'm addressing people who love to play inside the small houses of sangomas to get power. We don't get power from sangomas, comrades. We get power from the masses that we lead. You must assist masses so that tomorrow they must vote for you. We are struggling every day because you deploy people who use fly-by-night power to gain offices. When they arrive in offices, they sleep. Our SRC is incomplete because people are sleeping. We are failing even to achieve some of the things because we're not even united. The only thing that is happening is blaming games. There's no strategy. They would never said in any strategical meeting that, hey, comrades, what do we do now? We're facing a crisis now. Now, last year, due to COVID, we have a large number of students who have dropped by funding. What do they do to move forward? It's only us and the secretary that are pushing that student must register. The rest are in and out in Sangoma's room, trying to say, this one must not continue leading. And we're still here standing for 3 years now leading SRC, comrades. So in short, I don't want to prolong these issues, that this issue of 1976, 16 June didn't happen automatically. There was a force, comrade push, they fought for our freedom, we were liberated. Today, nobody's forced to use Afrikaans, but we still have challenges. We have a high rate of unemployment. We have got a high rate of unemployment graduates who are sitting at home. Crime is increasing because people start IT, they go home, they start using the same IT to do wrong things because they're not getting employment. So we need people who can actually say, we are standing up now. We want to employ graduates because graduates are employable. We were speaking about employable people here, people who have got qualifications. That as the generation of today, let's stand up, we unite with each other, we move forward. We take our youth from street and bring them back to a bright future. I think that can be a mandate of everyone. We just need to strategize because the problem is that when we strategize, when Musa is leading the struggle, after our meeting, you go to meet officials of the government, they give you job, and then our mission just go in the vein without acquiring what we actually had planned to achieve. So that we're fine. We were saying, let's just unite, then we fight. We are ready to fight, but we need directions and a guided anarchy, because unguided anarchy is always going to bring us problems. We need guided anarchy and strategy to conquer, because actually there's nothing happening. People are just sitting at home with qualification. There's no postgraduate funding. Students are dropping out. There's policies that are imposed to deal with black people. Things are happening under our watch, and we're not saying anything. Thank you very much, Minister of Housing. I hope my views are noted and recorded. That is my views on the issue of 16 June, that comrades must stop going to Sangomas, then come back to the ground and fight at the ground. And then we unite with each other, then we will survive. Thank you very much.
No, thanks very much, President, with such words of encouragement, and also encouraging the young people on the strategies on how to fight, particularly on the issue of a guided anarchy. Oh, I'm just realizing now that my mic was muted. Sorry. Thanks very much, President, with the words of encouragement, and also telling us on the issue of guided anarchy, to say that you just don't wake up and go and be an anarchist, but at least you should have guided anarchy. So with that being said, let me allow Dr. Raymond Maselekwani from Institute for Gender and Youth Studies to come and address us. Over to you, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. I'll try to be very, very brief, because all the speakers that have addressed us so far have alluded to the challenges that young people are facing. And of course, they've also touched base with what the challenges that are facing our students at the University of Venda. But I must first appreciate, Program Director, the invitation to the Institute for Gender and Youth Studies to be part of these June 16 celebrations. And I think it's important that we work together and avoid working in silos, because collective agency is needed for Univen to make an impact. And as an institute, we provide academic programs and conduct research which respond to the legacy of racial, class divisions, and age and gender-based discriminatory practices. I would also want to emphasize that our institute plays a very important role in propelling empowerment and development of the most marginalized groups, that is, young women and men. So the Institute promotes equity and social justice on cross-cutting issues of gender and youth in order to transform our society to meet the ever-changing circumstances and needs of the youth and women in South Africa. I must move on to the next item here, which I call the harvest of our political freedom. The speakers that came before me have talked a lot about what the youth of 76 have done to help in ushering the new political dispensation in this country. But while young men and women are in the majority, we all know that the harvest of our political freedom in South Africa has hardly benefited them, as they are the ones who are at the receiving end of hunger and poverty, unemployment, violence, crime, low levels of educational attainment, and low skills levels, just to mention a few of the challenges that face the youth of today. And I think we'll only be able to say that we are totally free when our young men and women are brought to the center stage and be allowed to have a full share of the harvest of our political freedom. The other issue that I want to talk to is youth as agents of change. We must never forget that the new political dispensation in South Africa was brought about by the toil and blood of the youth of 76. And I will quote Eleanor Swartz, who says that the 1976 youth protests shook the country and effectively set into motion the struggle that ended the evil apartheid system. The role that young activists have played in our country's transition speaks to the transformative power of the youth and youth leadership. And the previous speakers have also alluded to the transformative power of the youth, of course, within the context of students in the university. Now, change in South Africa was driven and propelled by the youth, as they were the ones who pushed and brought the racist apartheid regime to an end. Today, we're experiencing the new political and economic transformation because of the sacrifices made by the youth of 76. We all remember the slogans, liberation first and education later. These are the sacrifices that our young people in that era had to go through. However, program director, I must also avoid being politically correct, and as an academic as well as the parent, I must also try to address the elephant in the room. Over and above the challenges that have been alluded to by the previous speakers, I want as an academic to also bring to the fore what I also consider as another challenge that is facing the youth of today, and especially our students. And then I'll start by quoting Elena Swartz, who says that factors affecting the quality of life of the youth and their ability to reach their full potential are now multifaceted and challenging than before. We cannot undermine that. But over and above the challenges stated in the National Youth Policy 2020-2030, some of these battles, and these are the new challenges that I'm putting forth, program director. One, the loss of appetite for education, materialism, substance abuse, binge drinking, teenage pregnancy, and most importantly, the dependency and the entitlement syndrome. As an academic, I think many of our young people, young men and women, have ceased to be propellers of change, as they have been paralyzed by the dependency and entitlement syndrome. Some of our young people feel like they are owed their future by the country, and that everything has either to be done or given to them. And thus forget that the country also needs them, as we have seen with the youth of 76. As a result, some of our young people are failing to realize and seize the opportunities that have been ushered by the new political dispensation. And then they have stopped to be creators and drivers of opportunities for their own future and the progress and prosperity of the country. I think, program director, there is a dire need for self-introspection, especially by the youth leadership, in as far as this, as some of these challenges that I've just alluded to. We need, especially the youth leadership, needs to explore the remedies for this malady in order to rekindle the vibrancy, resourcefulness, and inventiveness of the youth. And as I listened to some of the speakers, when they talked about the challenges that face young people, and in this case, particularly our students, I could hear that there was a lot of resourcefulness and inventiveness, and that can help in attending some of the problems that our young people are experiencing today. In conclusion, program director, I must say that our young people need and they deserve to be recognized as powerful agents of social transformation. We must remember that our young people are naturally creative and dynamic, and they must be considered as actors, players, and partners in building a much better South Africa for all. We must view our young people as strategic catalysts for new ideas which can contribute to the human development and the renewal of our country. Young people continue to constitute a major source of human capital base that holds and drives the socio-cultural, economic, as well as political development of our country. Their intellectual abilities and their productive acumen, when properly harnessed, underpin renewal, development, and progress of our country. With the academic programs and research conducted by our institute, I think we are, as Univen, poised to make a meaningful contribution in ending youth marginalization and gender-based discriminatory practices which persist in this country even today. Thank you, Program Director. Thank you, Program Director.
Thanks very much, Doctor, for those words of encouragement, especially to the young people of our generation. That is not like we are lazy or not, but we have to go through self-introspection. So with that being said, Program Director, remember when, Doctor, and then ladies and gentlemen, remember when we are having a program that is online. In most cases, people tend to get bored because there is network glitch, whatnot, and so forth. But then I think we're still running on, we're still on time. So I would like to call upon our guest speaker, who is a very fearless leader of our generation, the man and a leader who has fought the system without expecting any material gains, without expecting any love back or any position. The person that I'm talking about, he has fought bravely in a way that would even face a lion in that particular time. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you a lawyer, the former president of VETS, who is Mr. Freedom Mqebo Dlamini. Over to you, Mr. Mqebo. Mqebo, yes.
Thank you very much, Program Director, and good evening. Good morning to everyone at the University of Venda. I have good memories with that place. It is one place where, when we were being rejected everywhere in the institutions of higher learning, I was always warmly welcomed there. Today, and good morning to the SRC president of Univen. Yes, look, we are speaking about a very sensitive topic, a topic that seeks to address issues that affect young people. And today we are then saying the issues that young people are facing are not new. Young people are still fighting the old struggles. The struggles yes.
Mr. Dlamini, can you please put on the video so that those who don't know you, they can see you?
Yes, no, it's technology. They are still assisting me here because I'm at work, so this thing. But they are still trying to it will appear, I think, shortly. I'll be continuing in the process. Now, I would start by saying that it has been almost 45 years since the Black and resilient youth of South Africa shook and threatened the system of apartheid. Yes, our history is important for the lessons and for the steadfast building of the future without repeating the mistakes. Now, it is simple and uncritical to dismiss the youth as born frees, as we know today that it's a lost generation, it's a born frees. That's what the current youth is being called. But mine, I want to compare the 1976 and the youth of 2021. Now, meaning that the youth that did not experience the shackles and despotic system of apartheid politically and socially. However, this is because the youth still experience the wounds of apartheid in form of structural racism encompassed by racial inequality and poverty. And the University of Venda can attest to these things, being one university that is in the villages, always fighting for struggles that other universities have never experienced, fighting for Wi-Fi, fighting for water, fighting for sanitation. And these are the issues that, to say the struggle still continues. The youth of today still experience the same challenges that the youth of 1976 experienced, but in a different format. Now you then begin to question yourself, why are these ones not fighting? Why are these ones comfortable? Now, today, post-apartheid South Africa has been flitted with political quagmire, while at the same time, facing tough times as structure of our state has not been transformed in a form of thoroughgoing transformation to service youth. Well, the youth is crumbling and filled with bitterness towards the cruel system which has been built by the oppressed and the oppressed. Hence, the SACP in 1962 conceptualized South Africa as a colonization of a special type. Well, after ESCOM, one is sensitive to speak about the SACP, but you know, their silence on the ESCOM matter leaves a lot to be desired. Now, as a system in which the oppressor shares the space of their existence with the oppressed, the apartheid has explicitly characterized the socially, politically, economic segregation, whereas post-1994 continues without explicitly racial discrimination. Social status and classism emerge as important components for the youth, which is politically aligned. The president was raising issues here that people are in politics for the wrong reasons. Now, that is where then the social status and classism emerge as an important component for youth, which is politically aligned. It kills political activism. Now, social status and classism are the order of the day for the post-1994 South African government, which frustrates the youth struggle through using the coercive forces of police to clamp down on strikes, service delivery protests. This social status and classism has made the majority of the youth bystanders to South African economy, social spaces, because it limits access to those who are not politically affiliated. The proximity to power through kinship and party patronage has betrayed youth struggles and filled youth with political quagmire. Well, the reality then is that politics is becoming unfashionable and the youth is rapidly becoming disinterested into any broad political organization. This is because party politics are stripped of honesty and coherent programs to emancipating youth from unemployment and poverty. Now, young people are dancing and singing destructive music. Young people has been turned into nothing but praise singers. Here you are a leader. Here you are a leader. There is nothing beyond being praise singers. They will buy them Smirnoff and they will insult you on Facebook until the sun comes out. Now, those are the things that have killed political activism. Now, the generation of today is subjected to a different struggle created by the ANC. Our ANC that has presided over the society has been continuing the society to be unequal. The introduction of Black economic empowerment in an attempt to produce non-European middle class Black elites. The result of BE is that has produced Black oppressors and gatekeepers of economic transformation through corruption within the political units. Now, our ANC missed the point of creating Black bourgeoisies, as Thabo Mbeki, the former president, reported to the Black Economic Forum in 1999, if I'm not mistaken. The struggle against racism in our country must include the objective of creating a Black bourgeoisie. The limitation, this creation of Black bourgeoisie, is that it is based on credit capital, government tenders that are likely to involve high schemes of corruption. Post-1994, our ANC was misguided when they chose the apartheid methodology of using the state to build Afrikaners' bourgeoisie. The reality was that toward the end of World War II, there was no single Afrikaner bourgeoisie. After 1948, the National Party managed to produce Afrikaner bourgeoisie because of the massive exploitation and oppressing of the Black people, in addition of Bank Holding Corporation of South Africa, Sanlam. This eradicated the poverty of Afrikaners, which included white youth through apartheid structures. Today, the neo-colonial political units have demobilized the youth of South Africa since they create the possibility of getting rich quick through the tender system or cadre deployment to government structures. That is why today we are trapped by state capture, which involves leaders or our leaders being handled and funded by certain families. Now, in resemblance of the youth of 1976, the youth of South Africa can attempt to imagine the so-called 1994 political freedom. They can only imagine it. Of course, political freedom can usher economic freedom if the political agents use the state to transform the economic structure. Now, what I mean is that the youth must reimagine a political freedom as the vehicle of thoroughgoing transformation, not vehicle of patronage and capital schemes. Now you are in SRC so that you can be deployed. You are in SRC so that you can have a direct line with the leadership of the province. Now begin to lie about your own colleagues there to the leadership of the ANC in Limpopo there. Our ANC must draft radical and practical policies that will benefit the youth of South Africa through education and participating in the economic activities. For example, the creation of sustainable employment, provide free education to the poor. The youth of South Africa struggle to access universities because of space and money. The youth of 1976 fought for education to be accessible by all means possible. Indeed, Black people now are legislatively allowed to attend any university, but there is a space constraint for every young eligible person to access space at university. For example, South African universities accommodate 500,000 students, while there is 15 million young people who cannot afford and access university. Now, acknowledging that youth is the significant component of every nation trajectory, economy production, innovation, skill development, technology development, and so forth, then South Africa's government and other society stakeholders must urgently find a solution for despondents struggling with the substance abuse and crime. Now, young people are being swallowed by nyaope everywhere. But no one is dealing with nyaope because it's not affecting white people. Nyaope is killing the poor Black youth. That's why even today, it hasn't been dealt with and it still exists in our streets. Now, the youth of 1976 was posited with an undeniable courage. They stood up against apartheid system by rejecting Africans as the medium of instruction, and their role in the struggle against the apartheid system, notwithstanding the fact that their influence needs a more critical, holistic appraisal of the constant significance of that moment. The Pan-Africanist Congress largely influenced the uprising as the Bethel trial and the arrest of Zephaniah Tupeng. Well, we've been accused of being PAC people every day when we speak in PYA structures, but what can we do? We'll always speak of Pan-Africanism and Black consciousness, and because those ideologies are a way of life. Now, the youth of today must heed a lesson from the youth of 1976 to stand for what they believe it is right for their future. The normalization of racial poverty and inequality, including youth unemployment, is a ticking time bomb. Therefore, the government must aggressively respond to the youth high unemployment rate, and youth must also assist by engaging in small, medium, what you call a scale, business scale. Now, I want to then speak about the role of student activism. When we say that we are members of society first, before we are students. Now, I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Now you have leaders, you have young people who come from poor backgrounds, whom their parents have fought hard to put food on the table and to ensure that you go to school so that you break the chain of poverty. You then make it to university. Once you get there, you forget why you are there and the role that you need to play in plowing back the knowledge that you have acquired from the institutions of higher learning. Why are you there? Before we can even talk about the quality of the education that we are consuming, you can't be able to question the content if you don't even know why you are there at the first place. Now, I said in one presentation that I made, who are we studying for? Are we studying for ourselves? Or are we studying for our people in the villages, in Vuani there, in Toyando? Because once we then say we are studying for our communities, then we will have found our generational mission. Because our people are languishing in poverty. Our people are suffering. The generation of 1976 was not just fighting against apartheid. They were fighting against an oppressive system holistically. They were fighting for freedom. They understood the importance of language in defining a society. They understood the impact and the role of language in priding ourselves as Black people. Because now the colonialists wanted you to start thinking like them, produce content in their thinking. If you write poetry in English, then you are now enriching the English content in sacrificing what is yours. Now, they were also fighting for land. They were also fighting for equal opportunities. They were also fighting for quality education. We can argue if we have quality education today. It is arguable. They were fighting that the institutions that were Black declared must be given a proper status. Today, Black people are being fought in all these model-C schools because we have failed the generation of 1976. We have failed to build our institutions. We have failed to elevate our institutions to that of world class. We still take our children to the white schools. White people don't want us. They will never want us. We perpetually loot money, not for the benefit of our people. I said earlier here, apartheid looted money to fund the African bourgeoisie. They built these institutions through blood and pain of Black people. There's corruption every day in radio and TV, but it doesn't benefit the people. If only our leaders were looting money to build schools, maybe we would understand. But they are looting money and we don't even know where they use it because they die poor, all of them. Now, what I want to say today, but I think I've said everything earlier before I appeared on the screen here. From the youth of 1976, we can take courage, resilience. We can derive inspiration from them. The youth of 1976 distracted the apartheid system. It is unfortunate that today we have a black government. When you raise issues, it seems like you are anti-ANC. That is the unfortunate part. The youth of 1976 had an advantage because they had a common enemy, so they could unite, because the enemy was one. It was apartheid. Now, we lack that common enemy, because when you attack the challenges, as you are ANC, feel sensitive today, not you are attacking us because you are EFF. Then we forget that poverty has no party affiliation. Doesn't care which party you belong. It cuts across. We are poor because we are black. Now, poverty in South Africa has color, and it is black. Then the mere fact that you are poor, it is because you are black. The former Bantu universities are neglected because they are predominantly black. I wouldn't be surprised if Univen doesn't even have a single white professor. If there is a white professor, it's the poor ones. It is because it is neglected. Our leaders are the generation of 1976. That's what makes me angry and frustrated. Our leaders are people who are 60 and 70. They are products of the 1976 generation. Then you ask yourself, if they are happy with the status quo, is this what they really fought for? Is this what they went to exile for? Is this what they were arrested for? Or they have forgotten why they picked up arms and fought? If then that's the fact, then it means the current youth has failed, because it is now the time to remind them why they went to exile. They will unleash police and you will be brutalized. The revolution won't be led by the rich kids. The revolution will be led by the peasants, because they have nothing to lose. When you speak about certain issues, you'll be told, oh my gosh, this guy, you know, you are discouraged. I'm happy that today racists are kicking coconuts on all these places here. They are reminding them that they are black. Because even during our times as university, we had issues with these rich kids and coconuts telling us, oh my gosh, apartheid is gone. Maybe that they are being kicked everywhere in South Africa here, in these schools where they run to, being reminded that they are black. Maybe we will unite. We will have a common enemy as black people, because currently our problem is classism. Now, comrades, mine is simple. The youth is fast asleep. You have no purpose, you have no mission, and you have no agency. You don't know why you exist. You don't know why you are in politics. You are just in politics just because you want to be called leadership. And probably there are perks that when you walk on campus there, you can get any girl that you want. That's why our politics have degenerated. You ask, why is Univen in the state that it is in today, when you vote SRC every day? What legacy are you leaving as student leaders in those spaces, except wearing the blazer and drinking alcohol and sleeping with everything that has breast there? What legacy are you leaving as student leaders? And what culture are you inculcating to those ones who are coming from COSAS? And what will you be taking to the motherboard, this politics, to the ANC? Because you are the ones who must be bringing a new culture to the ANC. Because the old guards are tired. But the young crop doesn't want to be born. You are in those spaces singing for supper, singing to be bought Smirnoff. That's all that young people are priding themselves today, that they have phone numbers of leadership. Then what? You remain poor. You remain in the same position that you were in before you occupied the position of leadership. You are failing young people. PYA leadership is failing South Africans, youth, because you have close proximity to power. But what are you doing with the close proximity to leadership? Have you articulated on the issues that affect young people every day? Or you go there to drink alcohol and eat meat and other things that are unnecessary? It is us, members of the ANC, who are failing the youth today. It is us, members of the ANC, who are killing the ANC today. You find young people not articulating on issues that affect young people, but releasing statements defending old people who don't care about us. Defending old people and squabbles that youth don't even know about. You don't know why these old people are fighting. Maybe they are fighting because they are fighting over women there in exile. They are bringing it here and you find yourself defending the indefensible. The country is not going anywhere if the youth doesn't wake up. We'll have all these Zoom meetings every day here and it won't take us anywhere. The country is gone. The country is ungovernable. The country is lawless. South Africans don't have business. South Africans don't have assets. South Africans don't have land. They own nothing. They have nothing. Spaza shops are gone. These are the things we grew up calling tuck shops. They are gone. South Africans can't do business. They want get-rich schemes, just want to make money, nothing else. They can't build from scratch. There is a problem. And our children will spit on our graves. For we have failed them. We perpetually failed them. We are obsessed with useless things. You are obsessed with positions that you don't even know what to do with them. You must not be made by a position. President, that seat must not make you. You must make it. You must be relevant. Not that seat. You must make the seat, not that the seat makes you. You must produce leaders. A leader must be judged by how many leaders they have produced. How many leaders have you brought to the PYA? How many leaders have you lobbied to bring in the church formations and to the EFF? Are you growing young people or you are chasing them away? During our student days there at VET, YCL was fine having 12 members. They were comfortable with just having 12 members. They didn't care. They were not obsessed with growing the numbers. Comrades, I can talk until tomorrow. All I am saying, let us change the mindset. We can be talking about youth of 1976, what they did. They did what they had to do then. What are you doing where you are? How many lives have you touched? It is the mindset. It is the mindset. We can change South Africa. We can make South Africa a better place only if we can change the mindset. Keep the main thing the main thing. Touch lives, inspire, motivate. Don't derive pleasure on ridiculing other young people, insulting them every day here because you are drunk of Smirnoff, that you are being bought by leadership. These old people don't care about us. They only care about them retaining positions that they occupy. They use you to retain those positions. And you are doing an exceptional job. You will be complaining about old people in the ANC when young people are a majority. Who told you to hate yourself? Because young people hate each other. Here you will be starting an initiative. You will be insulted by PYA people, not by the opposition. You will be insulted by SASCO because it has lost relevance. It has reached a high level of uselessness. No one has asked himself why Fees Must Fall happened the way it happened when there are student formation, existing student formation on campus. Why did the student decide to lead themselves outside of the existing student formation? Maybe that's what you must diagnose. Instead of saying Fees Must Fall was a third force, because then you are failing to diagnose the problem. It is because the existing structures had reached a high level of uselessness. Theirs was to defend the indefensible. Comrades, you need to fight. I'm not young anymore. I'm turning 35 in December. I am now focusing on raising my children, and with the hope that they will achieve what I thought I would achieve. And mine now is to impart knowledge and equip them. We are not young anymore. We can only guide young people and groom a certain new caliber of youth that will take us to the land of milk and honey. You must never stop agitating. You must never stop making noise with content and substance. We must never stop plowing. When we agitate, probably we will trigger the mind that will lead us to full emancipation. Comrades, let us love each other. Well, let us not love each other. Let us learn to work with each other. I don't care whether you love me or not. I don't want you to love me. My children love me enough. But we must learn to work with each other for a common goal and objective. That's what all is needed. They don't need to love you, President. Say, I can't work with this one because he hates me. I can't work with this one because he's bewitching me. You must learn to work with each other. In political spaces, we are not friends. We are not lovers. We are colleagues. We are comrades. We must work towards achieving a common goal. Not to say, hey, they hate me, I'm leaving. We must love you. Are you our children? That we must love you. We love your work, not you. We must celebrate your work, not you. That you are handsome and huge. We must now celebrate you. Now, comrades, there is a lot that needs to be done. Univen has produced leaders. Univen has people in position of power and influence in government. Those people must be called to account. Where are the rich people, the alumni of Univen? Because all our leaders are not products of UCT. Most of our leaders are products of Univen. They are products of University of Limpopo. They are products of Fort Hare. None of these people went to VETS. None of these people went to UCT. None of you are asking them, why are these institutions collapsing? Why are these institutions a ghost town? They have to account. They have to report. They have to be ashamed of themselves. The last time when I was at Univen, I was not happy with the infrastructure, with the sanitation facilities. And at the end, you are producing intellectuals. They need to account. Our ANC needs to account for the collapse of the black institutions. Univen, Fort Hare, Ngoye, Mangosuthu, Unizulu, Teflop, Mkwenya, Zamafa. It's a shame. Everything that we touch as black people collapse. We can't pride ourselves with anything. We inherited infrastructure from the apartheid government. We have failed to maintain it. The same way a lot of you are failing to maintain relationships. Young women join the PYA, you sleep with them, you break their hearts, they leave the PYA, they start insulting us. You are failing to maintain anything. You can't even maintain yourselves as young people with the NSFAS money. Now, that's what I wanted to make noise about today. I thought I'll come here and shout at you, shout at all of you, and probably you will be angry and agitated and start doing things proper. There is hope. And the hope is young people. And the hope is you, comrades who are from the villages. Comrades who are from the villages. Now that you are educated, you want to disregard what your parents have raised you with. Go back home and work the land. There is land in Venda. Work the land. Farm. Grow cattle, livestock. Own goats and sheep. Own avocado trees. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing nice about having a university degree, but not even owning a cat. You don't even have a blanket of yourself. You don't even have a teaspoon, but you are a graduate. There's nothing to envy from us in the city. We don't have land. Work the land in the villages. Plow. Grow maize. Feed your children and your families. These degrees must not make you useless. The Afrikaners are not in the city. They're in the farms. That's why they are mooring these coconuts in all these schools where there is this protest of racism. The Afrikaners are huge, like the SRC president of Venda there, because they are working the land. They are eating sheep. They are eating pap and spinach. They are huge. You want to come to the city to eat cornflakes and be weak and be a cheese boy. They will moor us, these Afrikaners, comrades. They will finish us, these Afrikaners, because they are working the land. Every day when they wake up, they go to raise cows and all these things. Mine today is that work the land. Work the land. Money is in the land. Don't leave the villages and run to the city. There's no land in the city. There's COVID here. Feed yourselves. Pride yourself that on weekend you go to one dead home to plow maize. It's your maize. It's your land. That's the culture that we must be bringing back to black people. Let us go back to work the land. That's where money is. There's nothing interesting in staying in flats here in Midrand. When someone is having sex on top of you, it's like they are having sex on top of your bed because there's someone on top of another one in these flats. Own your mud hut. Build houses with mud. At least you are not paying rent. You own a mud hut. People are paying rent, 7,000, 10,000. They don't own anything. They have just a stinking attitude and pride for nothing. At least you own that mud hut. It's yours. You don't pay rent. Build those mud huts there. Plow the land. Make children. Thank you very much. And let us be huge, like the president of the SRC of Venda, so that we can be able to fight these Afrikaners. And let us educate ourselves. And let us take the education back to our people in the villages. We are studying for our parents. We are studying for our people in the villages. Let us educate them, teach them the Constitution, criticize the Constitution. PLF there has a role to go to the villages to teach people the Constitution. Every day people are told of Section 25. They don't even know what is Section 25. Teach them Section 25 and criticize it. Be critics. I hate lawyers who are not critical. I hate people who keep on telling us the law says this, the law says this. What are you saying? We can't be having lawyers as coconuts everywhere here. We can't be having It angers me what I'm seeing with the kingship dispute with the Balobedu people there. Everything that has comrades in it has cancer. Immediately when you involve politics in the way of life of black people, it degenerates. Immediately when comrades were involved in the Balobedu kingship, it collapsed. We don't have critical black thinkers to provide leadership. Many of you here might be educated and coming from that kingdom, but you are quiet because you have reached a high level of uselessness. Who are you studying for? If you can't go back to Balobedu to provide leadership free of charge, why do you allow these old comrades to collapse what matters to us? Comrades have cancer. Everything they touch collapses. It has acid. I came here to make noise, not to say anything. But I think the noise that I made had content. And you heard what I was saying. We need to be a responsible youth. We also need to be present fathers. We can't have comrades here impregnating women and disappearing. We can't have young leaders impregnating women here and forcing abortion. We must be a responsible and present youth. That way, we will build a new South Africa. We must be a different generation. A responsible generation, a patriotic generation, a generation that loves the country. Because the problem that we have in South Africa is we don't love the country. People don't love the country. You don't care. You are in politics. I don't even know why. Politics is a calling. To be a leader is a calling. Ubizo. It's like being a sangoma. It can't be fashionable. It is a calling to lead the people, to guide the masses. God must anoint you with those powers to lead. You can't buy those powers. There are a lot of people who are occupying positions of power, but they are weak, man. They are useless. You can't feel them because they lack the calling. As black people, president of Univen, as black people, we are spiritual beings. Young people must go to Sangomas. Young people must go to ZCC. Young people must fast. Young people must respect spirituality. It is very important. You can't lead us if you are spiritually weak. You will think we are bewitching you, and you are weak. Ushila faith. Every day you are dead. Thank you very much, comrades, and good luck with your exams. And I hope that today's making noise has touched a certain nerve, and you will do better moving forward. I still expect Univen to hold its alumni accountable. People like Ronald Lamola and other leaders that we know must, and they have an obligation to say, we restored the dignity of black people where we come from. All of you, you have an obligation to go back to the rural schools where you come from to motivate, to inspire, and to encourage young people. You have a responsibility to go back in your villages where you come from to motivate young people and inspire them. I also want to discourage this thing of comrades not bathing and calling it black consciousness. That is not true, comrade. You must be clean, you must look neat, so that you can inspire young people to the ideology of Pan-Africanism and black consciousness. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thanks very much, Mr. Freedom Dlamini. Wow. You know, when we were trying to get a guest speaker, we had several names. And then we ended up with student affairs to say that, man, let's get someone who can call a spade, not someone who will come here and prevaricate and not say things the way they are. Because majority of people, when they are invited, instead of sticking to the core business that relates to what is happening on the ground, they decide to polish it and not put it as it is. Thanks very much, Mr. Dlamini, President and a lawyer for that matter, with the words of encouragement to the young people and a little bit of history on the youth of 1976. It is exactly showing us where we come from and what we should have. I was also surprised when you did not touch more on the struggle of vets on Fees Must Fall, which you were part of the leaders of that particular struggle. But it also came to my mind that you couldn't just praise it because it was a collective work. It was a work of the students. That was a generational mission. And then you also put it clear that we should also have a clear generational mission as each and every generation, as you are going to be turning in adulthood the upcoming December. President of University of Venda, we have heard it clearly. They have given a lot of examples using you, but they were talking to us in particular, especially the SRC members, that each and everything that has got breast, it does not mean that you must sleep with it. With that being said, words of encouragement, we thank you very much, Mr. Mkevo. We thank you very much. I would like to call upon, we are a little bit late, but we couldn't see it because what you were saying, it was really touching our hearts. You were really talking to us, because every time when you speak and then you hear your heart, every time when someone speaks and then you hear your heart saying something, you must know that that particular person is talking to you. This also goes to the young people who are listening via the radio, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, that you must know that when you are having a seed, you must make that particular seed. Don't let the seed make you. Thanks very much. With that being said, Mrs. Ntabeling, you can give us a vote of thanks and closure. Thank you very much, comrade.
Thank you, Program Director. I deem it a great privilege to propose the vote of thanks of this memorable program. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today a resounding success. I first and foremost thank our special guest speaker, Mr. President Dlamini, who despite his busy schedule found time to come and grace this program with his presence, carrying some very illuminating words. I also express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Raymond Masilukwane, Mr. Matere Musa, Mam Esther, and all staff members who were
Program Director.
Yes.
So, sorry for the interruptions. Can't you at least take 2 questions or comments? I think that would be good before the closing remarks. Only 2 or 3. I guess maybe submit some inputs or something like that.
We are thanks very much for that submission. We are actually beyond time, but I will just put 5 minutes for those particular questions. You'll forgive me, Ms. Ntavelen. Let me just take 2 questions and then we proceed. 5 minutes for those questions and also answering. Thank you very much. I see the hand of Ruzani Mampeule. Hand of Ruzani Mampeule and Mashilo, is Mashilo Mukhola. In that order, I will just take those 2 hands and then we will give back to the Deputy Secretary of the SRC, Ms. Ntavelen, to close. Thank you. Ms. Ruzani.
Okay, thank you, Program Director. Firstly, I just want to thank Mnemo for a wonderful session. I think this is what we wanted to hear as young people on the lecture about the 16 June commemoration. And there are a lot of things that you raised, and there's one particular interest for me that I picked from your presentation, the idea of holding our alumni accountable. So I guess some of the people who are here in this platform are noting it because, like you said, there are many people who graduated from this institution who are holding prominent positions. Some are ministers. Recently, the minister has appointed a legal advisor by the name of Ramatekis Advocate. That person is a Univen alumni, is a former employee and a student from this institution. So, and these are the people that we as Univen graduate, young graduate youth who graduated from this institution, these are the people that we look up to. So this, I guess, this is something that the people are noting because last time we had a convocation, AGM that was disrupted because people wanted their friends to lead that space, but we had mobilized people, prominent people who have graduated from this institution to occupy that space. We are mobilizing them for the same reason of giving back to the institution in terms of developing and growing Univen, and also nurturing young leaders who are coming up from this institution. So I want to thank you for pulling that out, for mentioning it. And the president gift, I'm sorry to be long, guys, but I just have a lot to say. There's a lot that I've picked from this conversation. A gift has mentioned something about employability, having the graduates that are employable. But my question, I want to pose this question to SRC. Have you guys advocated on the quality of education that university students are receiving?
Mr. Ruzani, Mr. Ruzani,
it's just a question that you can think about it. Thank you.
Mr. Ruzani.
Nah.
Can we at least go straight to the question because we are behind time? Thank you.
Mine was just a comment. I just wanted to comment the presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Mukhola, I don't know if it's Miss or Mr., but I'm sorry, but Mukhola.
Okay, thank you, Program Director. My name is Mukhola MS, Politics and International Relations lecturer from University of Venda. I just have one question, which is as follows. What role do you think the youth of today can continue to play indirectly honoring the memories of the youth of 1976 in helping to decolonize higher education while not forgetting the concept or the inclusion or embracing the concept of indigenous knowledge system? That is my question. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, no, thanks very much, Mr. Mukhola. Sorry for saying Mukhola.
It's okay.
Mr. Mkaibo, did you get the question? And if you got it,
I missed the last part on the decolonization. Oh, let me repeat. It's very important one. Okay, let me repeat the question in full. My question is that what role do you think the youth of today can play in continuing to honor the memories of the youth of 1976 by helping to decolonize higher education while not forgetting to embrace the concept of indigenous knowledge system.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. And
Mr. Muhula.
Okay, thank you. Well, we shouldn't run away from these titles.
Okay.
And then if what you have just submitted qualifies you to be a professor in our faces and our minds, then let it be. You know, the same way we call people mfundisi, what, is because we you know, we can relate to what they are saying. But thank you very much, Mr. Mohola.
Thank you.
The issue of decolonization is a very complex issue. It is an issue that needs a systematic understanding and analysis. We've been singing about decolonization for the longest of time. And we all feel that there is a need to decolonize. But one thing that we have failed to do was to define what decolonization is, or how should it look like. Now, from where I am standing, because I come from the Black consciousness school of thought, mine is the mind. I always say, let us deal with the mind first. The rest will follow. Our thinking, what we read, what we feed our minds. Now, I then prefer to focus mostly on language. To say, once we lose language, because I'm speaking to a university that is in Venda, then I will say, once Venda people stop speaking Venda and embracing Venda and express happiness, pain, and love through Venda, then we have lost it. Because once we are not able to tell our stories using our languages, then we have lost it. I started with it when I was talking. The importance of language in the decolonization process. Now, because when you speak Venda, you invoke certain things in you, your thinking, your behavior, and how you relate to society. When you speak Venda, you already know how in the Venda culture you can deal with COVID. Because there is no illness that the indigenous people didn't have a way of dealing with. Because we were closer to God. Black spirituality. There will be people who are shown how to cure certain illnesses using herbs. And those are the things that we want to run away from. That's why our people are dying in hospital there. Living herbs there in the mountains in Venda. That they will be drinking. That they will be steaming with. Because we have assimilated. We have reached a stage where we are living what is ours and wanting to take what is not ours.
In political science there, our politics is dominated by Hegel and Karl Marx. You go to first year, you will be taught about Karl Marx and Hegel all the way to PhD. By the time you graduate, you can't think of one. You can't think of Toyando and Lebuachom. You are only thinking of Conwyn in England because the content that we swallow. When we say decolonization of the education itself, we speak of the content. We are not saying 1 + 1 will now be 12, but how it is being taught, who is teaching, and what is being taught. Now, it is how Mr. Mukhobi teaches. I mean, Mohola, yes. Why, I mean, what he teaches, how he teaches it, that matters. I said we must bring these ideologies back home. You can't tell me of Karl Marx and Lenin. Can the people of Toyando relate to that? Bring it home. Make it speak to our challenges at home. That is the decolonization. Make it speak to us. Can we relate to it? Was Karl Marx talking to us? Who was he talking to? Now, we can't afford to lose what is ours. We must embrace what is ours. We must take good from white people and leave what is bad and incorporate it to ours, because life has moved. Just like culture and custom, it evolves. But we can't leave what is ours. What makes a Venda child? What makes one to say, I'm Venda? What makes you to say that? It is the culture, it is the customs, it is the values and traditions, it is the upbringing, it is the language. We can't lose those. Now, I think that is my submission. Our biggest problem is the academics who have all these decolonization theses and research. Decolonization is on paper, it's there in the offices, it is gathering dust. We must preach it, we must live it, so that we can begin to process it. I think with that, we will get somewhere. Yes, the university, through the registrar, must give the SRC the data of all the people who have graduated at the university. The SRC must have access to it, the emails of its alumni. You must email them. You must have a program of alumni where you have a program of all the people who graduated there. You must have their, Gucci, where are they? Who is a CEO where? Who is a what? You begin by celebrating them and honoring them. When they achieve something, you claim them. University of Pretoria can't claim Lamol because Univen is not claiming him. You must claim your products. You must pride yourselves with your products. Actually, you must call them to come and plow back to inspire and motivate. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkabo and Mr. Muhola, for asking that particular question. Over to you, Deputy Secretary General of the SRC.
Thank you. I deem it a great privilege to propose.
Deputy Secretary, you can also fix your camera so that we can see you for the last time.
Oh, can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. I deem it a privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this memorable program. Let me first of all start by thanking God for making today a resounding success. I thank our special guest, Mr. Mcebo Dlamini, who despite his busy schedule found time to grace us with his presence. I express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Raymond Musilukwane, Mr. Matere Musa, Mam Esther, and all Univen staff members who were able to attend. I thank the SRC President, Mr. Gift Chauke, his cabinet members, and all SRC members who were able to avail themselves to this program. I last but not least thank all distinguished invitees present here for accepting our invitation. I also thank the members of the media for evincing interest in covering us and for Univen FM for taking us live. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Secretary, Deputy Secretary. You know, sometimes when someone gives you money to say that come to town, you will never praise the driver who have driven you or thank the driver to say that thanks for driving me safely to town, but you will praise the person who gives you money. Nonetheless, let me also take this opportunity to thank everyone for attending University of Venda, staff members, students in particular, the president and the cabinet, and also to thank Mr. Andisani Matelemusa for making this program a success, for putting together the guest speakers, for taking everything to the university media platforms and the university communication department. We also want to acknowledge the presence of the HOD of housing, Mr. Mkwena Ntai. But now there are some things that have been said, a lot of things have been said. It is up to us to go and learn from what is being said. From me, the things that have been said from Lobedu Kingdom, they have touched me because I'm also a Lobedu. Then, without Realo, I thank you very much. Ke nna molobedi go kwa bolobedi o lozi bolo bathaba ke ba ke lokela ka mabane ke khumane khagala ka namela ke bebe ka ke bya gae re a leboga. This meeting is urgent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Where's
Minister and the guest speaker. Bye.
Where is the president? He is a lot, man. Where he can finish a sheep alone.
Hey,